There's a question floating around the internet lately. Why are troubles in the US leading people to claim that Jesus is coming? It's no surprise that the global events of 2020 would make one consider the end of the world, from catastrophic bushfires in Australia and volcanic eruptions in the Philippines to unspeakable crimes and merciless killings in places like Azerbaijan and Nigeria. Nearly every country faced a spike in upheaval, much of it trailing into 2021. The US was not exempt from a rise in crime and unrest and dismay. But why in particular, as the grotesque US election unfolded, more and more voices were heard saying Jesus is coming soon? Is there a connection between the return of Christ and the US? The United States is a distinct nation. The longest-standing democratic republic in the world's history, the US is different among other countries, past and present. Marketed as the land of the free, home of the brave, generations of people have flocked to the United States in hopes of better opportunities, Americans in many ways parading their laissez-faire way of life. Along with being politically distinct, the United States is also a very influential nation. Topping the charts for most prestigious universities in the world, the United States has a strong weight on education. Countries around the globe pattern their universities and research facilities after American institutions. Even the way in which big businesses and tech giants operate are largely spearheaded by the US. Organizations such as the United Nations and the World Health Organization are seemingly unbiased international entities, but in many ways these councils are given an American voice. Both the UN and the WHO are made up of member states or country memberships, and because the United States of America is the largest economy in the world, it financially supports a significant percentage of both the United Nations and the World Health Organization. Regarding the civilian population, Americans also have a huge social media presence, driving lingo, ideologies, and social movements around the world. It's clear that the US has been in the limelight from its inception and still catches global attention today, whether good attention or bad attention. But America's economic, political, and social influence will all amount to the largest movement in history, the movement of Revelation 13. This chapter in Scripture depicts two world powers represented by beasts. The first beast has dominance for a period of time, but is impeded by a deadly wound. The second beast arises later on, being described as a lamb with two horns. Its gentle phenotypes are different from the first beast, and its power resides in a bicameral structure depicted by its two horns. While it appears different from the terrorizing beast before it, this lamb-like nation speaks as a dragon and exercises all of the power of the first beast, encouraging its own inhabitants to emulate the former world power. Not only does this lamb-like nation incite a movement to reflect the laws of the wounded nation, but it also encourages worship. It's not just promoting a political movement, it's promoting a religious movement. Lately, much conversation has stirred about the morality of the United States. This country has seen historical levels of unrest in the past few years, injustices boiling over on media outlets and citizens taking to the streets. Communities are outraged at the disgraceful and relentless treatment by fellow citizens and systems, and while people are raising their voices, there seems to be a disconnect between the people of America and their representatives in government. On the home turf and abroad, individuals are witnessing this unrest as an exposure of national corruption. In the 2020 US election, President Biden's campaign slogan was, "Battling for the soul of the nation." This could of course be attributed to the discord and infuriation during the year. But whatever the powers that be mean by battling for the soul of the nation, you best believe that the world's nations will follow suit. Consider the French Revolution of 1789. In the face of economic turmoil, the citizens of France were discontent with the political landscape and its lack of financial relief. There was much unrest, especially among those in poverty. In defense against the inequality of legislation, rioters stormed the Bastille, which was a fortress that represented the reign of the monarchy. This insurrection was the catalyst of the revolution, and soon after, old laws were replaced with new laws in order to reconstruct the political system. This new way forward introduced democratic principles that largely stemmed from the philosophies of Enlightenment. It was embraced by the educated classes and so-called societies of thought, such as the Freemasons. Even the ruling nobles and clergymen embraced the enlightened democracy for the sake of peace, but this guise backfired over the 10 years that followed. Targeting all forms of corruption and despotism, the people of France revolted against the nobles and clergymen, denouncing God and Christianity altogether on a governmental level. Known as the Reign of Terror, suspected opposers of the revolution were guillotined by the thousands. After long months of unrestrained lawlessness and resultant bloodshed, the country reinstated moral principles, namely Catholic principles. So essentially, unrest led to anti-religion, which led to lawlessness and violence, and then an attempt to return to morality. Somehow, anarchy led to order. Isn't this the creed of the Freemasons, order out of chaos? This period of revolt in the late 1700s was the incision that wounded that first beast of Revelation 13, Roman absolutism. But how does all of this relate to America? Are we not seeing similar unrest in the States, a crying out for renewed democracy? In the context of the French Revolution, anger eventually turned toward the church doctrines and religious rulers, but unlike majority of the Western world, the United States has never had a religious figurehead, but in the name of moral reform or public health. Could this change? Current President Biden is only the second openly Catholic president in U.S. history, the first being President John F. Kennedy in 1961, exactly 60 years apart. As seen at the end of the French Revolution, could Biden draw from his Roman Catholic doctrines to heal the nation and potentially the broader world? The power of what America says and does is evident. A newspaper of Trinidad and Tobago echoed Biden's sentiments with a slight twist, saying, "Sunday is the soul of the nation." The article, entitled "Let's Keep Sunday Sacred," stresses the importance of Sunday worship and how Sunday's distinction plays an integral role in a country's society and economy. The article claims that to violate the sacredness of Sunday is to pronounce judgment on ourselves as a nation. Trinidad is not the only country to make these claims. Many countries throughout the Caribbean and much of Western Europe have made efforts to reinstall Sunday observance into law. With the current division and impunity in the United States, will President Biden and American citizens turn to the same solution? After all, the Pontiff of Rome did state the necessity of Sunday rest and global brotherhood in his two latest encyclicals, Laudato Si and Fratelli Tutti. So why are troubles in the U.S. leading people to claim Jesus is coming? Because the second nation of Revelation 13 is speaking like a dragon. Just like the Roman religious power of Revelation is drunken with the blood of the innocent, America is bleeding red from all of its corruption done in darkness. This nation, once held in high regard, is being unveiled, the heart of America exposed. But Christ will vindicate upholders of truth. He will vindicate innocent blood. Yet a little while, and he that shall come will come and will not tarry. The just shall live by faith.